Sourcing, the final frontier. These are the voyages of ISS, an enterprise that wanted to look at new ideas and new concepts, and to boldly buy where it never bought before. My name is Darren Chamberlain. I'm the Chief Procurement Officer at ISS, and this is our journey through implementing Amazon for Business. We wanted to be very transparent today about what we did, what worked for us, and perhaps more importantly, what didn't work so well, so perhaps on your journey you can recognise some of those failings in our business and maybe avoid some of those tricky steps along the way. ISS is a Danish organisation. We focus on FM, and our clients include people like Barclays, Heinz and Leonardo. We're very proud of the work that we do. Just to provide some context, when I joined the organisation in January 17, I felt it was important to give people a purpose. So in looking at the procurement strategy and developing that for the organisation, I want to be very clear about the people, the processes, the policy, but more importantly the platforms as well. I joined at a time when the vision was being rolled out as an ERP system, and I was able to convince the organisation that probably Cooper was the right partner to work with in terms of P2P to augment what we have within the vision. During the 4 years, I've been very clear about the way that we would work with the organisation, and a lot of that is around stakeholder management. I've been very clear about each year focusing on 3 to 4 things as a maximum, and then trying to be very clear about the deliverables, measuring each point along the way, having clear milestones. It makes it clear for the business, for our suppliers, and more importantly for the employees. During the 4 years, around 2018, we realised that our tail spend started to become problematic. It demanded a lot of management time. It involved an awful lot of energy and focus, which we really didn't have amongst a central team that really needed to focus on some preferred suppliers. So we started to talk to Amazon, and how might we do that? Like many organisations, you'll have models yourself. This is the model we used. We were relentless with this model. We looked at policy, we looked at system integration, we looked at the principles. But the thing that really delivered the most benefit from this was the communication. We used all communication channels available to us, and we talked to stakeholders through drop-in sessions, through digital communication, through to one-to-ones, just to take people along that journey to make sure that they were comfortable. There's no getting away from it. There's a 2-box grid here. I'm going to walk you through it now. This is what worked for us. As you might imagine, there are a number of stakeholders I need to stay very, very close to. That was the senior team and some of the functions, some of the governance functions like IT and finance. When I started talking about system integration and sharing information digitally with suppliers, immediately you might expect there was a little bit of, oh, we can't do that. And so getting those people comfortable with what we were doing, but also ensuring that we were protecting the organisation at every step of the way. I also had suppliers I wanted to take on that journey. We focused on preferred suppliers, suppliers with whom we have deep relationships with, long-term trading arrangements, and shifting the way that we organise with those businesses has taken some investment of time and energy. The area that I would share with you today that didn't work so well is actually with my own team, the category managers, who historically have been drilled into them, control the category, control the spend, manage the suppliers for best value. And then step change, we're moving to an Amazon business model where perhaps it's more of a free trade model. And it took some time to get those guys on board with what we were trying to achieve. And I think the failing on my part as a leader was not engaging them soon enough to understand some of their concerns. But we got there in the end, and right now they're really happy with what they see in terms of management information, buying trends across the organisation. And as a team, I think we're seeing better outcomes.
Thanks, Darren. I'm Gemma Lindley, Procurement Business Partner at ISS. The next key element for success is your category strategy. This is something we've been working to develop now since we implemented Amazon Business, but it's something we recommend that you look to develop from the very outset. And we think that by driving that from the beginning of the process, you can really drive additional value. We understand obviously that we need to maintain control of your spend to ensure and reduce kind of leakage from key supplier agreements. But we really recommend that you look at the flexibility within the system and ensuring that there is a wide range of products available to the end users. Obviously, leakage is important to manage, but what we've definitely found from feedback from users is that if you have too many controls and restrictions in the system, it potentially will put them off and they may just revert back to using kind of existing buying channels. The key part to this element of success is engaging and driving engagement with your category teams. It's important that they understand the real benefits of Amazon Business, how it affects kind of the procure-to-pay process and the efficiencies it can drive, and that they really kind of engage and embed this within their category strategy. engaging them from the outset and then ensuring that those the strategies are then reflected in the restrictions in the system can ensure you kind of get that balance between flexibility and control. You know, unfortunately, detail is key here, and one thing we found is that there are, you know, a lot of categories within the Amazon system, and aligning them with our own business category structure is time consuming, but we think it's worth that effort at the outset. Another kind of bit of advice, I guess, is getting some feedback from your end users. So where users feel that there are products that are currently restricted or blocked on Amazon and they would not like to purchase them, making sure you've got a route or a process whereby people can actually request that, and then, you know, applying a temporary or permanent kind of change to the system. Obviously, throughout this whole situation of the past kind of few months, we've really had to look at changing priorities, and that has meant that we've had to change some of the restrictions in our system. So ensuring you've got that flexibility in a process whereby you can adapt the end solution is really key. Moving on to the supplier strategy, which is the next key element for success. Obviously, Amazon Business can provide a solution for your tail spend. You know, the likelihood is it will help you to drive spend away from existing systems and through the Amazon solution. However, we also feel that there's an opportunity to drive existing suppliers through the Amazon Business process. We conducted a full review of our tail spend, and whilst, as you can imagine, there was significant spend that could have been driven through other kind of existing suppliers, there still remained spend for bespoke specialist items, or where the client had nominated a specific supplier, where we would have to continue using that supplier. We therefore saw Amazon Business as a potential solution if we could get that supplier to make the switch over to the Amazon Business marketplace. So we have been working with Amazon and with their onboarding team to look to engage some of our suppliers and try to sell them the kind of opportunity of moving to Amazon. So obviously they can take advantage of the wider client base, the wider market, and also some of the other benefits Amazon can offer. But at the same time, as a business, we can then really reduce our overall kind of end-to-end cost of engaging that supplier and managing the process. We're also now looking at embedding Amazon Business as a key kind of question within our onboarding process. So ensuring that we can really drive the use of the solution from the very outset of engaging with a supplier. One thing I'd really recommend is you take the time to check existing suppliers and see whether they're already available on Amazon. That's something we've done more recently, and there were a few kind of quick wins there that you could definitely take advantage of.
Thank you, Gemma, and good afternoon. Welcome to everyone joining us today. My name's Phil Oddie. I'm the technical lead here at ISS in the UK. I'm going to talk to you today about a couple of key topics, and the first one being system integration. I'm not going to spend too long talking about system integration, although that's not because it's not a key part of this journey. As you can see from our summary, we have a very simple setup, and simplicity is the key. We have our Amazon for Business embedded within our own purchasing platform, which in our case is Cooper, and we have that backed up by a purchasing card. This is our approach, and each one needs to be different, but each one should equally be as simple. So a great P2P process is a simple but effective one, and this is where something like Amazon Business really comes into its own. I read recently that over 90% of the UK population have used Amazon at some point, and we can't ignore what's happened over the last 6 months in terms of the changes we've seen to buying habits. All this really helps and will help drive our own customer internal process. That customer adoption is key, and is a key part that can be driven by the factors around us. The second key part we have here is around regulation and governance. Governance is a key part and is always a key question that we look at when talking about Amazon Business. It's a very key part of any business and needs to be really thought about as part of both your customer, your client, and your supplier strategy. All these will in turn help your procurement journey, which will be driven by the above. These will really help, again, in terms of your strategies going forward, and having a clear, concise and precise strategy will really help. And so the final part is the technology. And as I've mentioned, system integration is a key part of this. But what we also see is the familiarity that Amazon brings will help drive that technology and development. We've worked closely with Amazon over the last couple of years to really help and drive on our technology and our setup. And all this has led to a much smoother, slicker process. So in summary, we need a smooth, slick, efficient process that's really going to help drive adoption and maintain our key stakeholders, both internally and externally. All of these combined together with the topics we've covered so far will really help drive that adoption and really help you get the best out of Amazon for Business going forward. Thanks for listening, and back to you, Darren.
Thanks, Phil. So look, you've heard from the ISS team. Hopefully that's been fun and a little bit informative for you. We've tried to be as honest as possible about our implementation and our journey. So now it's over to you. Here's the challenge. On the balance of everything you've heard, how likely are you to implement Amazon Business?